Hey, hey, hey. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, beautiful people. It is time for the hour of power. I like to get on a little early to give folks time to get they stuff together and come on. So just going to give folks some time, but just saying greetings, everyone. It is time for hour of power. All right. If you are able to, starting right now, go ahead and share this video out. I don't know what we're going to talk about. We're going to have some good conversations today. It is a beautiful day. Okay. This is a beautiful day. Happy Sunday to everyone out there. Hope that you all are doing well. This is a beautiful day. This is an amazing day. Y'all know what we're doing here. Hour of power. You bring your conversation to this table and we're going to talk about it. So definitely share this video. Get it out there. Let people know that we're on for hour of power. I hope that everybody's doing well. That you all have had a beautiful weekend. That you are prepared to start the new week. We're going to have some good conversations today. I don't know what we're talking about, but just know we're going to have some good conversations today. So hour of power. Here we go. It is 5:59. Let me know that you on. Talk to me. What's going on? Hour of power is designed. Y'all forgive me. I'm going to be sucking on some cough drops. I'm not feeling my best, but to God be the glory. I am here. So for sure, you're going to see me probably popping a few cough drops, but we're on. Let me know you're out there. We're going to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. This is the hour of power, y'all. Let everybody know that we're on. We're on. We got 3 people watching. I want to just know where you are. If you feel comfortable saying hello, say hello. Definitely get connected. Greetings, everyone. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. How's everyone doing? Hi, Tasha. How are you? Thank you for sharing my video. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it out. Thank you for sharing it out. Esperanza, good evening. I am going to feel better. I'm trying to drink some water. Got me a little cough drops going on. It's all good. Teresita, hey, hey, hey. Hey, this is a beautiful day, okay? We are smiling. We are excited. We are happy. Definitely excited about this movement. The hour of power is designed for folks to come on and just to share what is going on with their week, what's going on. I've been slipping with my water intake. That's all right. That's all right. We're going to get it together. I've been slipping too. We take it one day at a time. So if we can't fix what we didn't do right today, there is always tomorrow if it's God's will, okay? So definitely excited about that, y'all. How's everybody feeling? The hour of power is designed for us to talk about things that may be on your mind, something that may have happened this week, that may be going on, that you may not have been able to share with anyone else. We want to give this a space to talk about that. And give folks the time to just kind of bring up some of the stuff that kind of have them in a certain space this week, a certain place, and we want to kind of talk about that to give you the opportunity to have an amazing week. Okay, is that all right? All right. Any topics y'all want to start off with? Any topics? Can y'all hear my air conditioner? Let me know if you hear it. I'm going to turn it off. Share the live, everyone. We got 3 folks on. We looking for at least 10 today. At least 10. I'm going to just pull the window down. Just pray don't no bugs come in here today. Yeah, I know I be in here swatting bugs and carrying on. Hour of power. Hour of power. Hour of power. Thank you, Teresina. I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are beautiful. So most definitely. Any thoughts? Anybody have anything to come up? Anybody have anything to come up for them this week? I'm gonna start with one. All right. So, hey, Auntie. Hi. I'm about to pop another cough drop. Y'all gonna think I'm the cough drop queen tonight. But I'm gonna pop a cough drop so I won't be up in here coughing and carrying on. Y'all think I don't want to spread my illness. Okay, so okay, y'all saw me the other day. I was swatting bugs. Like, okay. So anyways, all right, we're gonna get it started. All right, so the other day I shared a video. I don't know if people had a time to watch it, okay? But I shared this video of a pastor that was preaching. right? He was preaching. He was in the middle of his sermon. I know folks watched it. And he literally was telling people about themselves in a way that was very demeaning. It was really hurtful to people. He was talking about, a young man was falling asleep in the church, and he said, don't fall asleep. I ain't gonna OD, auntie. He was like, don't fall asleep, I'm important. And he started really telling the people in the congregation about, did anybody watch that video on my page? Because it had me hot. I laughed a little bit at the guy who was narrating, but it had me hot because this is something that happens in churches often. It don't look like that per se because there's not a lot of direct conversations, but it happens. My aunt said it pissed her off. Wow. Well, auntie, it made me upset too. I ain't gonna lie. It upset me. One thing that it upset me with is, it upset me because, one, he felt comfortable enough to say that, right? Two, there was no, Tasha, I can't with you today. There was no scriptural support for any of the stuff that he was saying. And three, he really was coming after people, and they just sat there. And it was very difficult, which means that they have probably had him do that. He's probably done that to them before. That's terrible. And we wonder why so many people don't want to be in the Lord's church on today. It's because there's so many leaders that are misrepresenting the body of Christ. That thing had me hot. Yeah, I was mad. I ain't gonna lie. Now, I'm telling you straight honest. I was in my flesh. I was mad. Because I think that was so disrespectful to the body of Christ. It was disrespectful to God. Because we should not be treating his people like that. Teresina, it upset me too. But am I wrong for being the one that would... Teresina said, am I wrong for being the one that would fight him in the church? No. Now I'm not gonna answer that, because you have to work on your own soul salvation. But I just want you to know that that is real, right? If it upsets you to the point, I'm sorry for laughing. If it upsets you to the point where you want to fight, then you know that wasn't of God. Have you ever sat and listened to a leader or a preacher or a pastor, anyone teach or preach, and it resonated in your spirit and it gave you empowerment? You felt like you could move forward. You felt like you was empowered to keep going, right? Have you ever sat in the preaching? Have you ever sat and listened to somebody like that? I listen to T.D. Jakes often, and I feel empowered every time I listen to him. Now, anytime you're sitting to somebody and you're listening to somebody and it pulls you into your flesh, that is not of God. It is not of God. I don't care what they look like, what they say, what they do. It is not of God. That is not of God. And I know you're right. I know you're serious, Teresina. It's still funny. I'm sorry. It's funny because we don't want you to be fighting in this ministry. We don't want you to be fighting in this gospel. But it's real, right? Now imagine that had been an African-American pastor doing that to African-American people. That would have went a whole different way. And so we recognize that culture plays a role in a lot of it, right? Culture plays a role in a lot of it, but spiritual abuse happens to everyone, regardless of white, black, blue, green, purple, Latino, Asian, African, none of it. None of that matters. Spiritual abuse happens often, and it shows up in ways. His was just way more direct, but it shows up in ways just like that, as we talked about spiritual abuse. So I wanted to start the conversation with that. Teresina, please don't be fighting in the church down there in North Carolina. Auntie, we don't need you fighting out there either. We just need y'all to stay saved and stay beautiful, because it's real out here, okay? Now I'm going to go back to a comment. Esperanza said, I moved past my past, but lately I find myself looking back. I've prayed, and now I'm constantly praying. But how can I just let go of, or what can I do to stop looking back? Looking back at what? What are you looking back at? Let's talk about that. I want you to, if you can comment, tell me what you're looking back at. And we can really deal with that. Now, I want to say something that I shared the other day with some folks, okay? Now, I shared the other day, I'm sitting in my car right now, so this is the perfect illustration. Life and technology is moving so quickly that it is teaching us how not to look back. What do I mean? Nowadays, now my car ain't that fancy, okay? I ain't even got no fancy dashboard or nothing. I got the basic model, okay? But nowadays, we have vehicles that literally can tell us when to back up, because there's a backup camera on our cars, right? We have rear view mirrors that we can look back and we can check and make sure that nobody is behind us before we back up, right? We have side view mirrors that tell us when somebody's in our blind spot, so we don't have to look over in order to. Now, you should look back before you switch lanes. It's safe. But we have these abilities to do this now because technology set that up. So life in the natural, and even our natural living every day by day, is teaching us how not to look back. And so the importance of you telling me what it is that you're looking back at is how we're going to drive this conversation. But we're taught in so many ways how not to look back. Like, I barely have to turn around when I drive anymore, because I can check my mirrors and everything, and I got everything set. Thank you. My auntie Nikita taught me how to drive, by the way. And I learned how to drive by looking at these things, and I don't have to look back anymore. But so often we get caught in looking back. And when we're looking back, have you ever tried to drive a car looking like this? If you ever try to drive forward looking like this, you're not going to get anywhere. You want to know why? Because your eyesight is in the wrong direction. If you do get somewhere, it's going to be somewhere that won't be safe for you, because there may be an accident or whatever, because you're not focused on what's in front of you. So I want to know what it is that you said the past things that have transpired in my life and my girlfriend's life. Okay, so that's real. So I want to talk about that, because in order for us to want to look back, there has to be a reason for it. What is the reason for you looking back, right? What is the reason that's causing you to look back in that? There is something that is still holding. When we let things go, I'm trying to figure out a better way to say it. When we let things go, for real, it's because we've severed every single tie. That's it, or whatever. But there's some ties that's still connected to your past life and your ex's life. And that's the part that you have to point out what it is in particular. What is it? Is it an old, was it, I don't know what it was. Was it a word vow? Was it whatever that caused you to keep looking back? That's the root of it. We've been talking for a long time, Esperanza, about getting to the core, the root of the issue. So you're acknowledging that you're looking back at your past life. But what about your past life? Now I'm asking you to go deeper. But you don't have to respond on this video. I want you to assess that in your mind. What is it about it? Was it the good times that we shared that caused me to look back? Was it the bad times that we shared that caused me to look back? Was it the children, or whatever factor that causes you to look back? Let's look at that. And as you unpack that and you start to deal with that, it'll cause you to move forward, because you'll be able to heal in that area that you've been holding on to. I hope that makes sense for you, okay? But I do think it's amazing that often in life we would find ourselves in a position of looking back, and it sometimes can hinder us. For instance, if you ever walk, like stand outside and just start walking and look back, you're going to be nervous about how many steps you take in front of you, because you don't want to run into a tree, you don't want to trip up on a sidewalk, because you can't see what's going on. So when we look back, it sets us back from where it is that we're supposed to be going. And so often we have to pull out what it is that's holding on to us, so that we can let that go. Because if not, it will hinder us from our next assignment. It will hinder us from our next destiny. It will hinder us from where we're supposed to be going, because we're looking back and not looking forward. Okay. So I really appreciate you for bringing that to the light. And I want you to unpack that a little bit more within yourself. If we have to inbox and talk about it a little later, that's okay. But I really appreciate you for bringing that to the light. Okay. Now, anything else? Our power. In our power. This is our time, right? This is our time to talk about anything that is on your mind, stuff that happened this week. We have a full hour to talk about whatever it is that come up from you. I don't care what it was. You know what? The other day I put my shoes on the wrong feet. Okay, let's talk about it. That's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so I want y'all to know that we're here. The Hour Power is here for you, for us to talk about whatever has come up for you this week that has caused a hindrance, that has caused you to have to stop back and say, wait a minute, I need to really talk about this, because this is bothering me. It could be from the most irrelevant thing to the biggest thing in the whole wide world. Let's talk about it. Why? Because if we're not talking about it, we're not healing. And if we're not healing, we're not able to move forward. Okay? And so that's so very important. It's very, 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 very connected. Okay. So Annette says sometimes lack of closure will make you absolutely lack of closure. And I want to say something to that. Sometimes you're not going to get closure on your situation. Sometimes you are not going to get closure on your situation, which means that sometimes you're not going to get those answers answered. Man, God, why did I have to go through that? Why did I have to go through that? Why did this happen to me? Why? Sometimes we're not going to get the answers that we need in order to move forward. We have to, at that point, the serenity prayer, God, please help me to accept things that I cannot change. We now have to step into that point and say, you know what? I got to accept this, and I have to move forward. Because so often we're looking for closure and we can't get it because the person that we want closure for has moved on already. I've lived that, y'all. I know it's true. And we have to figure out creative ways to bring closure into our lives so that we can move forward and enjoy the best days, which is the rest of our lives. Okay, Auntie, let's talk about poor friendship. What about poor friendship? What is a friend? Let's talk about that. Let's start with what is a friend. Before we can get to poor friendship, what is a friend? What does it mean to be a friend? Anybody got an answer for me? Hey, Tradina. Esperanza, I think that's where my issue falls. Amen. The closure piece. There's so many beautiful activities that you could do as I'm waiting on somebody to tell me what a friend is. The beautiful piece about closure is that there's so many things that you could do to bring closure to your own heart. And we can talk about that, okay, off the record. Okay. Tasha says, I don't have any of those. People don't know how to be a true. Well, what is a true friend? Tell me. If I didn't know what a friend was, tell me what I could do to be a good friend. Can somebody tell me, what does it mean to be a good friend? How can I be a good friend? Teach me today. What is a good friend? What are some qualities that a person would have to have in order to be a good friend? Can y'all help me with that today? Come on, Auntie, I'm waiting on you too. Now, friendship to me, Teresina, loyalty, edifying one another. Okay, so there's a mutual sense in there. Okay, Tradina, to truly be there for someone without having expectations, can tell the absolute way, but loving way. I may have read that wrong. Tasha, loyal, trustworthy, loyalty. That's a theme. Honesty. Okay, so you need to be honest. It needs to be a mutual relationship. Both parties are receiving. It's edifying. That you're truly there for one another. Truthful. Someone who could be your authentic self with, so you could be transparent with. Okay, Auntie, one that sticks closer than a brother is what we grew up believing. Absolutely, we grew up believing that. It's one who sticks closer to a brother. We talk about God in that capacity, but we look at a friend. And also, the Bible teaches the friend, lays down their life for someone, can tell you the truth in a loving way. Absolutely. So it's a relationship where there's mutual, like there's a connection between two people where they can be their authentic self and they can love one another. Okay. So when we talk about poor friendships, we're talking about people who are gossipy. We're talking about people who don't know how to be honest. We're talking about people who don't know how to have a mutual relationship. They take, but don't want to give. We're talking about that, right? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how do we become people that can produce healthy friendships. And the first answer is we have to first make ourselves friendly. We can't be nasty, rude, trifling, mean to folks and expect us to have healthy relationships. And so here's another key. Everybody wants to take and not give. Absolutely. So we have to be mindful of how what we bring to the table, right? But when we bring stuff to the table, we also have to be mindful of what we take from the table, right? When we're talking about what a good friend is, we're talking about what a person can offer, what we can offer a person, but we also want to talk about what a person can offer us. And I think that sometimes it gets one-sided real quick because you have two people in each other's lives and needs are not being met. Teresina says, I have one best friend of 18 years. Other than him, I ain't got nobody. I ain't got one. My heart is too kind, so I have to be careful who I allow in my circle. People have a tendency to take my kindness for weakness, okay? And that's real. I don't have a lot of friends. You want to know why? Because I can't be my authentic self with everybody. Make sure y'all share this video. I cannot be my authentic self with everybody. You want to know why? Because people will take that around with it. Oh, you know that Robin is a preacher and she said a cuss word. Somebody probably said something because I said the word piss earlier, like quoting someone else's comment. Somebody will probably take that and run with it. That's okay. You want to know why? Because I'm going to show up authentic whether you like it or not. You want to know why? Because in order for me to be who I am, it's important that I'm authentic. And so oftentimes in relationships, Tasha, I can't with you. Oftentimes in relationships with people, there's a boundary issue that usually gets crossed. My aunt says, friends are not just dump trucks. We have to be, absolutely. Have you ever had somebody in your life where you just give? You just listen. Every time they have a problem, you just listen. You right there, you just listen. And then when you have something, you seem like everybody ran away. It seemed like don't nobody's phone work. And that could be deemed as a poor friend. But I want to also challenge us and say, you know what? One of the things that God is teaching me in this season is when people show you who they are, you have to believe it. And when you have people, Tasha, stop. That's too much. Stop. When you have people in your life who take and don't give, then you now have a responsibility to say, I'm not going to allow this to be in my life. You now have that power to say that. So oftentimes, I want to challenge this question. Are we allowing people to be poor friends to us, or are they just poor people in itself? It's about sometimes what we allow people to do. And I'm not afraid in this season of being alone. Like so often we want people to be close. We want to be heard. We want people to be in our lives. We want to make sure that people are around and all of these things. That's great. That's great. I want a whole lot of friends too. But I also want the right connections. And that's so very important that we're not settling for poor people to be in our lives, for poor friendships because of where we are. And so just challenging that in itself. And I'm challenging myself too. I don't want to just have poor people around me, or just not poor people like money-wise poor. I mean like poor friendships. I don't want to have poor people who don't understand relationship and building a healthy relationship, unhealthy people in my circle. I don't want that, because I recognize that that'll take me to a place that I don't want to be. Tradina says, I have 3 best friends who have been in my life for over 20 years. Each one has helped me with my growth in different ways. And we all strengthen and support one another. They are my kindred spirits. That's beautiful. I love it. I have 2 best friends. Meatball and Yingling. I'm not saying their real names, but that's their nicknames. 2 best friends. And they know me. They know me. And I love them to pieces. I love them down. And we have an understanding of each other. And here's the beautiful thing about it. We don't talk every day. We probably talk once a month. And we pick right back up when we left off. Because we respect each other's boundaries. And that's a big one as far as friendship. Tasha says, I lost a friend. I lost one friend and another one is almost out the door. Okay. Okay. Why did you lose those friends? What's going on? If you want to share. So for those who are watching, we're talking about friendships. We're talking about poor friendships. What does it mean to be a good friend, and what does it mean to be a poor friend? And what does it mean to how do you sever ties with someone who is showing you that they're not a good friend? That's a good question. Because oftentimes we just get mad and we just walk away from people. I'm just done with you, right? But how do we sever ties? You know what? Listen, this relationship is not working. How do we communicate and tell people that they're not being the friend that we need? Right? Because sometimes we hold people accountable to stuff that they don't even know they need to be accountable to. In other words, sometimes we're like, well, this person is not being a good friend, or this person is not being a good boyfriend or girlfriend. This person is not being a good partner for me. And we're not communicating what it is that we need for them to be that. Does that make sense? So I've learned that lesson in this season, that it's important that I communicate what it is that I need. Now, once I communicate what it is that I need from a person and they choose not to honor that for whatever reason, now I have a choice as to whether they're going to stay in my life or not. That makes sense? Esperanza says, the ones I thought were my friends only called or came around when they needed me. I knew at that point I wasn't worth it. Absolutely. I'm telling you, when you get to a point where you recognize the pattern of people, oh, they only in my life at the first of the month because I done got my check. You already know. That's the key. All you need to do is catch on to what it is. Once you catch on, it's now your choice as to whether or not you're going to allow them to be in your life. See, oftentimes we don't recognize it, but we set the thermostat for how we want people to treat us in our lives. We set the thermostat. When we tolerate foolishness and ignorance, it's because we set that standard. We're telling people that it is okay to treat us like that. Absolutely not. Not at Robin Beck's house. No, ma'am. No, sir. No dog. No cat. No cow. No nothing. It is not okay. We have to set healthy boundaries for what it is that we want and how we want people to treat us. Does that make sense, y'all? Okay. So what else has come up for folks? What else has come up for folks this week? Okay, my aunt says, alone is good, but in this season of my life, I need someone, a dependable person due to health, because I need help and things that are going on now. Absolutely. And I think that that's good. That you recognize that you need someone in your life in this season. And I believe that God will send the right person in your life. And yes, being alone is good, but auntie, we don't want garbage people in our corner just because we have a need. We're still believing God for right, healthy connections. And so recognizing, I'm praying that God will send you people in your life that will be genuine and that will really take in and hold on to what it is that you need, and you will also be able to meet their needs in Jesus' name. Amen. I believe, God, that he's going to send you what you need because your heart is in the right place. So I thank you for reaching out and saying that, auntie. I thank you for generating this conversation. Kay says, what about friends with alternative motives? Oh boy. Now that, oh God. Auntie said they can stay at the trash site. y'all, I don't want to laugh today, y'all. It's a good day though. But friends with alternative motives. What is that? Kay, I need you to explain. Tell me what that is. Tell me what that is. What is a friend with the alternative motive? Tell me, y'all. What does it mean to have a friendship with someone who has alternative motive? We talking, y'all. I need y'all to talk back to me today. Amen. Cut them off. They're no good. Amen. So a friend with an alternative motive means, before I say that, Tasha said, yes, God will send the right people, but we have to know not to miss out on the right people consuming our life with the wrong ones. Absolutely. We have to be mindful, right, of what it is that we have to be mindful, right, of who and what it is that we need in our life and what God is saying that we need in our life in this season. Amen. So thank you. Friends with alternative motives are folks that come into your life and you think it's for one reason. You think it's for one reason, but it's so different on their end, right? So there are people, Kay says, that they're your friend, but they really want a relationship. Okay? So it's already coming in on two different levels. So you got one person here, relationship. You got one person here on friendship level. So it's already on two different levels. Y'all already start off wrong. I'm going to get to your comment in just a second, Teresina. So what do you do with people who come into your life for the wrong reason? And so they come in and they want a relationship and you want to establish friendship. What do? How do you communicate that? And what happens when you communicate what you need from that person and they don't honor it? I think I said it earlier. Mama say it again. Friends with alternative motives. Folks that come into your life and they want one thing and you want another. And it's like it's an imbalance already. Okay, I want folks to answer that question. Teresina says, I want someone to, but for some reason I always draw the wrong type of people. Like it makes me feel like, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep drawing the same type of people? Is this friendships that we're talking about? Is it friendships that you're talking about, Teresina? And if it is, then that happens with the most people. It's like, okay, why? Even in relationships, people are like, well, I draw the same people. I connect to the same people. There's a few things that are going on. One, there could be some healing, the inner healing that needs to take place. Oftentimes, when you're healed, you don't tolerate the same stuff, right? There's some things that you just won't tolerate in your life. For instance, I do believe that God has allowed me to walk into my healing. Okay, now I didn't tolerate a lot of stuff in my life, but in this season of my life, you can't come to me any kind of way. It's just not going to happen. Why? Because God is calling me higher, and so there's a different a type of people that God has assigned to my life in this season, and I can't be just around anybody. And so when you move into a certain place of healing, and oftentimes we make decisions to have people in our lives because we don't want to be alone. That was that alone piece again. When we're not alone, we settle for, oh, well, you know, they are cool. Let me just hang out with them for a few days. No, that's not a good look for some of us. And so making sure that we're healed in all capacities, making sure we're good. Because when we're good, we can set the pace for what it is that we want people to be in our lives. And if you're noticing a pattern, Teresina, then definitely recheck some of the things, some of the commonalities of who they are when they come into your life. Absolutely, we can't settle anymore. What are some of the common things that these people are when they come in? You say you attract the same people. What is the common denominator? When you look at that common denominator, you have to look at that place and make sure you're healed, because you don't want to keep attracting the wrong people into a new place. Okay? Esperanza says it's kind of hard because no matter what you tell them, their mind is already made up. Absolutely. When people come in your life with alternative motives, they already have their mind set up on what they want. And so it's going to end in two different ways. Y'all going to either stop talking, or y'all either going to stop talking. And how does that make it different? You either going to have to cut them off in a very harsh way, or you're going to have to just walk away from it. And most of the time, it ends very rough because they don't respect the boundary. And then you will be the person that they blame for, well, this is your fault. They would blame you for you making a positive choice for yourself. So definitely, when you come into the game with talking to someone who already coming in with an alternative motive, it ain't gonna end probably on a good note. It's gonna be a mess. It will. I have cut so many people off in my life because of their alternative motives. And when you have an assignment on your life, and I'm speaking to somebody right now who has an assignment, when you have an assignment on your life, you can't just hang around with anybody. You can't just be around anybody. You cannot just keep entertaining the wrong company. Why? Because it will offset your destiny. And so often we would allow ourselves to have these people in our lives because it's like, well, I don't want to be without anyone. So we would allow these people in our circles, and these dream killers in our circles, these people in our circles who don't mean us any good, and it will take us to a place that we never expected to go. I ain't trying to preach to y'all today, and we ain't trying to collect no offering. This is just the hour of power. I just want y'all to know that when you are able to recognize what it is, move from it. Move from it. You cannot keep accepting garbage into your circle. See, we sometimes self-sabotage when we allow people that we know are not good for us into our circle. We self-sabotage ourselves. We self-sabotage. Tradina says, I have decided to take the master life class about discipleship, and I wonder how I will start building even more healthy relationships, especially with maybe building more friendships in my new community I live in. Absolutely. Good luck with that. Take the master life class. Take it. Let us know how it go. I'm excited about that. And please let us know how you go about building. How do you build healthy? Let's talk about that. How do you build healthy relationships? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. When you come in to a relationship or a friendship, and you have boundaries and you have goals and you have certain things that you need from a person or that you desire from a person, and they're not in a healthy place, it's already an offset. It's already not good for you. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. People usually show you who they are in 90 days. Okay. Annette says, of course, off topic a little, I had to set a boundary of how my mother speaks to me. Had to let her know it's not okay to hurt my feelings just because she's my mom. See, it's really not off topic, because we're talking about how to have healthy relationships. That is how you have healthy relationships. You have to first communicate what it is that you want. It first starts with communication. This is what I desire from a friend. Stick to your boundaries and be vocal. And guess what? And sticking to your boundaries, auntie, and being vocal, we don't have to be nasty about it either. Have you ever not answered the phone for someone? Or have you ever told someone, listen, I don't have time for your gossip? Have you ever said that to someone? I'm not just talking to you, auntie, I'm talking to everybody. When you set a boundary for your life, it is what keeps you in your happy place. You have to make sure you take care of you. Oftentimes we're so bottled down with taking care of other people that we end up breaking our own hearts. We end up hurting ourselves. We end up putting ourselves in a position where we're unhappy, but everybody else around us is happy. And then we wonder why we can't ever find happiness. It's because we set ourselves up. We have to be able to communicate boundaries. And then I appreciate you for bringing that out. And I'm sure you said it in a very respectable way. Listen, Mom, it's not okay for you to do this to me. It's not okay for you to hurt my feelings. It's not okay to call me this name. It's not okay to do that just because you're my mom. And now you have a choice of whether or not you want to keep tolerating that. That is up to you. Sometimes we say, well, that's my mama, so I gotta take it. No, you don't have to take it. And I'm not telling you to disrespect your mother. I'm not telling you to disrespect your family. I'm telling you to set a boundary, and if it is your boundary, then you are entitled to what boundary you have for you. We often fail when we let up on our boundaries. Well, it's okay they cuss me out this time. No, it's not okay. You make your own self unhappy sometimes, tolerating the wrong company. Kay says, get to know someone before divulging intimate information. We run into things too quickly and then we get mad about it. Absolutely. Because you know what? People will use the things that you tell them if you speak prematurely. And I know everybody on here can witness to this. If it hadn't happened to you, it's happened to somebody else. We can speak things to people prematurely. And before we know it, that thing that hit the streets. It's gossip. We talked on Thursday night about gossip, or Wednesday night about gossip. It's real. We find ourselves in a place where we don't even know how the conversation got there. Well, yes, we do, because we told our own business. But we've trusted people way too quickly. We have to start giving ourselves time. I don't know what it is about this popcorn mentality generation, but we all live in it, right? If you want some popcorn right now, you could just go put the microwave on 1 minute and 30 seconds, and you're going to have you a bag of popcorn in 1 minute and 30 seconds. You want to go find out how many states it is in the United States, you could just Google it, and you get an answer in 2.5 seconds. All of that stuff that happens very quickly, and we want our relationships to happen just as quick, and we find ourselves moving too fast. We don't know the person, and the relationship severs very quickly because we moved too fast. People show you who they are, but you have to give them time to show you. It's okay to take your time. Now, I didn't grow up in old school. I grew up in the 80s. So I wasn't dating in the 80s, of course. But I know that people like in my grandma's day, maybe my aunt's day, they courted. They went out a few times. They dated a little bit. They got to know each other a little bit more before any other boundaries got crossed. And oftentimes we're mixing things too quickly, and then we get upset when it don't work out. We mixed it. Where are your boundaries? What are your boundaries? If you cannot answer that question, then you don't need to be building no new relationships. Because everyone has to come to the table with some boundaries. Teresina, a man came to my job and told me the same thing. He didn't even know me, but he said the same thing to me because of my calling. There are just some things people can't be around. It's just a lonely walk right now, trying to figure all of this out. I have enough to deal with, but dealing with the call in my life is a whole new open. A whole new open can write by itself. I probably read that wrong. It's okay. But I hear the gist of what you're saying. When you have a calling on your life, it is very important that you protect the destiny that God gave you. You have to protect the vision that He gave you. You cannot let everybody in your circle. And you sure enough can't be telling everybody what the Lord has said to you. Have you ever told somebody what God said to you and they like, well, I know that wasn't the Lord. Well, how you know? How do you know that wasn't the Lord? How do you know what my Lord spoke to me? And it happens so often. We get into a place where we tell too much of our business too quickly to people. And when it messes, when it goes sour, we want to blame other people. But we was the one who did it. Most people wouldn't be able to run with stuff if we didn't tell it. Courting and dating. Yes. Take your time. We rush too quick. We go from one day to be a single to 2 weeks in a relationship. Now, I know that there's no time limit on love. You can love someone at first sight. I get it. But we have to be careful about who we allow in too quickly. We got to be careful, y'all. Love is real. I'm always going to love. We got to be careful. Okay? So we talked about a whole lot of stuff. What else come up for folks? What else has come up for folks? Now, I'm on my third cough drop now. What else has come up for folks this week? I'm listening. We talk about how to set healthy boundaries, how to build healthy relationships. Yes, you're absolutely right, Kay. Protect the calling and your peace. Absolutely. Auntie says, Some things are not meant for everybody. Be specific and be strategic. Absolutely. Not everything is meant for everybody. If I told everything that the Lord gave me in this season, it's already blowing my mind. I'm sure it'll blow everybody else's mind. And there's some people who are not even capable of thinking and being able to process things on the level that you know that the Lord is speaking to you on. You have to protect your stuff. Okay, Auntie, I'm going to chill out on the cough drop. Keeping your temper in check. Okay. How do you keep... Here, let me start with this, Tradina. What ignites your temper? You said keeping your temper in check. What else has come up for you this week? You keeping your temper in check. What ignites your temper? Can you answer that for me? For anybody else, we're talking about now. We're moving it to what it means to keep your temper in check. What does it mean to keep your temper in check? To keep yourself from getting upset, angry, in a rage, or whatever, from lashing out in the wrong energy. How can you keep your temper in check? I want everyone to try to answer that if you can. Relax, relax, release. Okay. For me to keep my first of all, it takes a lot now in this season because I'm moving to such a beautiful place of healing. It takes a lot for me to get angry. And if you get me upset, then I have to take a breath. I gotta breathe and listen to the ocean or something and put my mind somewhere on the beach. Nisha says having self-control with your emotions. Okay. Or having control of your emotions. Okay. Nikita says, my aunt says, check yourself first. Okay. So in order to, what we're talking about right now, y'all, whoever's chiming in, we're talking about right now how to keep your emotions in check. How'd you say it? Keep your temper in check. How do you keep your temper in check? So there's a lot of great answers. I breathe. But I'm one of those type of people, I can't stay mad long either. So I get into a rage, I hit something or whatever, and then I keep moving. Okay, Kay says I remove myself and come back later. Sometimes, and I appreciate what you said, Auntie. Sometimes you do have to check yourself first, because I have to figure out, what did I get mad for? We don't. Do we ever ask ourselves that? Why do I get mad? Why am I mad? Anger is a secondary emotion. Did y'all know that? It's a secondary emotion, which means that there is something that triggers the anger to happen. Does that make sense? So when we get mad, Tasha says eating right. What you put in you can affect how you feel. Absolutely. Kay says I get very calm by deep breathing. Deep breathing helps me as well. But we're looking at what has made you angry. What has created the anger? What has created the temper? What is creating that? And when we can check ourselves and we can talk about what it is that's creating that, sometimes it'll prevent us from lashing out at a bunch of folks. Sometimes it will prevent us from making a fool out of ourselves. Sometimes it'll prevent us from getting to a place where we're not okay. Don't hold a grudge. It's hard to do. I'm guilty of this, but don't hold a grudge. It's hard to do. I'm guilty of this. But it can help you get over it. Okay. Absolutely. If that is what works for you, Auntie, I'm so happy that you have established that. If you can get over that, that's powerful. It takes a lot for me to get angry, and that says, but when I do, I isolate from that person, which is good, or it could be bad. Because if you isolate enough, you're gonna let that thing just sever, and it's gonna just cook up like some eggs on a platter. It's gonna cook up, and then by the time you see them again, it's boiling over. Okay. Esperanza says, I'm lost because I've tried for so long. I do after I've lashed out. Listen, when we talk about anger, when we talk about being upset and tempers and all of that stuff, we're talking about secondary emotions here. We're talking about that there is something that triggered the anger. So if there's a situation, and I want you to think back on a situation that had you hot. Okay. Let's go back. And you don't have to say it, but I want you to think back on a situation that's had you very angry, that's put you in a place that was out of your element. What happened? Now, I'm thinking back on an incident that made me feel angry that happened not too long ago. And one of the things that had me in that place of anger, in that place of rage, was I felt my boundaries were crossed. See, when I'm upset, I want to be able to walk away and process, right? But when someone comes into my inner space, it compromises that. So I get upset when someone comes into my inner space. So that's what caused the anger. And when you can pocket and when you can pull out what has caused the anger, I'm telling you, I'm asking y'all to do some deep stuff. This is deep work. When you all can pocket what causes that, now you have the ability to assess what will not allow that to happen again. Hey, Eve. Hey, Wilson. Hey, EJ. That's Eve's cats, by the way. I think sometimes people confuse holding a grudge with continuing to deal with whoever hurt them. I feel like you can truly forgive without inviting someone back into your daily life. Okay. Absolutely. 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 I like that. I like that thought. I know some things work for some people. Like, there's some people who can stay mad for a very long time, and they can hold on to something in a way to, and then they begin to open it up and dissect to get to the core of what happened, and they can move on, right? There's some people who can let it go immediately. Like, okay, God, I'm moving. I'm washing my hands of these folks now. There's different ways to work, so I definitely appreciate both. Okay. I'm much better from anger, Teresina says, but when I don't know how to control myself is when someone is coming at me and I know they should know better than even coming off that way. For example, I had a minister come to me trying to make me shout in church. I was not going to participate in putting on a show at I'm not trying to laugh at you today. I was not going to participate in putting on a show at church. I did not feel the spirit of dance upon me, so I was not going to be faking. Absolutely, absolutely. She kept pressuring me, so I gave her 5 seconds to get... You gave her 5 seconds to get out of your face before shouting. Seriously, I think you set me up today. You set me up because I'm trying not to laugh. So you gave her 5 seconds to get out of your face. She left you alone. I'm sorry, but it angers you for people to play with God. So for you, your boundary is, I think you're trying to set me up, Tradina, because you've been making me laugh today. I really appreciate it. But for you, it's when people come into your space, right? And it puts you in a position where you are unable to, you're not in control at that moment. So that makes you angry. And that's one of the things that you notice. So now you know when people, look, there have been people, let me be transparent since we on this note. There have been people who come up to me at church and said, the Lord told me to tell you blah, 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 blah. And it is not in season with what God has said to me. And I have said to people, I don't receive that. I'm going to tell you something, Tradina. I know this is your church and all. I mean, I'm sorry, not Tradina, but Teresina, I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you something. For real, that's okay. You can say, listen, it's okay. I need you to, could you please back up? I'm sorry. You can see, there are ways that we can set boundaries in a healthy way. But I'm going to be honest with you. When people are unhealthy, they're not going to receive it regardless. So it's going to cause a disruption, but you have to do it. So it's not okay for you to get to a place of rage because someone else is violating your boundary. It's okay. I'm sorry. I'm okay. And you can lovingly push back. And it happens. So definitely, I appreciate you for sharing, Teresina, or whatever. And I appreciate you for, I could just imagine that happening. That's why I got a little tickled. But Tradina says, at work, I feel this young lady who I work with is trying the last nerves with her negative speaking. She is never happy, sucking the energy out of the room. We work with little babies, and I truly believe that we are, for the hours we work with children, putting our energy into them. I love pouring positivity into them. I have not let loose my temper because I want my walk to be different. But honey child, Jesus be with you. Now, and I'm going to tell you something. We talked about this the other day. We talked about energy zappers. Energy zappers. Folks who literally suck up the energy in a room. They just consume the energy. Just take it all the way out. And it's like, whoa, how do I even function in this space? And that's okay. You continue to pour into those babies. And you begin to lift up that young lady's name in prayer. Because I'm going to tell you something. God could do more for her in 5 minutes of you praying for her than anything that you could ever say if you was ever to bless her in your temper. And I know that you're not there yet, and I appreciate that. But we want to generate this conversation for those who ain't. There are some who can't control their temper, that don't have that self-control, and they do lash out. And so it's definitely important that we bring that out. But I appreciate you for bringing this to the space, because it can suck a lot out of you for you trying to be a positive energy for the children, and this person is just so negative. It could be a lot. So all I ask, or all I would suggest, is for you to continue to stay focused on what it is and begin to pray for her and begin to lift her up, because I've seen God change people around. I've seen God move people out of organizations just by praying. Like, Lord, I don't know what it is, but I need you to shift this atmosphere. There is no way that darkness will ever control light. Light always controls darkness. So continue to let your light shine. Okay, Tradina? Eve says, staying mad can really mess you up. I feel like if you stay mad, you'll end up hurting the person who isn't out to do you wrong. That's true. That's true. When you stay mad, that's when like bitterness comes out. That's when other deep-rooted stuff comes out. So it starts up a whole nother layer of emotions. So thank you, Eve, for saying that. Esperanza, family telling me how I should be living or what's best for my child. I'm her mother, so I know what's best. I go to God before any decision I make. That's beautiful. And definitely recognizing that that's your boundary. Somebody telling you how to raise your own child. If that is a boundary for you, you can say thank you, but no thank you. Oftentimes, have you ever, and I know we have you ever been mad at somebody for doing something that you haven't ever communicated that you didn't like? I'm guilty. Let me put up my feet too. Have you ever been mad at somebody for doing something that you have never really communicated to them that you did not like? I know we have some people. I have. And it's so important that we communicate our boundaries. Oftentimes we just assume, like you said, Teresina, I'm going to use you for an example. You said, I would just assume that she would not be in my space. I would assume that she would not come into my circle and do that. I would assume that she would do it. But she didn't know that that's not what you like. And so the person at that church came to you and did that because she thought, I'm not going to say she, or that person thought they were doing the right thing. But we have to communicate. And it's okay. Even after service, I had to be like, you know what, that wasn't okay what happened. And there's a loving way. And that's what's one of the problems. There's a loving way to communicate things. And oftentimes we would wait to communicate things to when we get mad. We wait till we get mad. We wait till we get real mad to communicate what we feel, and then it becomes ineffective because the person now looking at us like we rude and we nasty, but we didn't communicate our boundaries from the start. Eve, I'm not dealing with y'all today. I'm not. Teresina, I don't believe that you really are serious, but I definitely appreciate you for accepting my own humor. Tradina says, Teresina, I went through the same thing with the so-called prophet who wanted to fall out on the floor. He pushed me. I can't. Okay, Tradina, I know you went. I'm sure you went into immediate prayer. Like y'all would not believe some of the stuff that happens at church. I was at a church 2 weeks ago, and I seen somebody just trying to push the people down on the ground. That is not the Lord. That was not God. And people were like trying to hold themselves up and trying to catch themselves. That was wrong. So it happens, Tradina. I'm sorry that happens, and I'm happy that you chose to go into prayer instead of, pushing back the person or anything like that. I really appreciate your transparency and that you decided to go into prayer, because that is very important. So thank you for sharing that. Teresina, I sure told her literally, you got 5 seconds to get out of my face. But see, I had tried to tell her nice the first couple of times, but she kept at it. So basically you communicated a boundary and she didn't honor it. That is not okay. It's not okay. And that is not God. God is not, he does not impose himself onto people. He don't just push himself or rush himself up on people. He don't do that. Wow. I'm sorry that you all had experienced that. Okay. So everybody guilty. Okay. Well, y'all ain't going to jail or nothing like that. So the reason why I asked that question is because it's so important that we start to communicate our boundaries, right? When something happens that we don't like, I know that we assume good intent with people. We've done it for years. We've assumed good intent, but that doesn't work anymore because our assumed good intent, our assumed good intent for others. Some people don't know what our boundaries are because we're not talking about it. We're not telling people. I don't like when you call me this name. I don't like when you get in my face. I don't like when you touch me without permission. These are small things, and we be on the inside boiling and raging and mad. But it's because we haven't communicated it. And there's a positive way of communicating boundaries, okay? Tradina, yes. I had the same thing that happened, and it hurt so bad. I think my patience grew short after a minister had told me the Lord showed her that I was her armor bearer. I was nothing but a puppet to her. She was just using my gift. Absolutely. People will blame God for a whole lot of stuff. The Lord said, and you know it ain't God. You know it's not God. You know it's not God. And I'm going to tell you right now, in this season, people come across me the wrong way. Like, listen, I don't mean no harm. I love you, and God loves you too. But I don't receive that word over my life. Let me take it to God in prayer. And it's okay. Tradina, yes, I'm guilty of that, and I fail to communicate my boundaries. Y'all, we're going to do a segment on how to communicate boundaries. We should have, if we had more time, we would talk about how to effectively communicate boundaries. There are books on it. I would encourage you to read an article on it, how to effectively communicate boundaries, because it's necessary. We have to be able to communicate what it is that we need from people in order to move forward with having healthy relationships. Because if we don't communicate what it is that we need, we are not going to be effective, and we're not going to have healthy relationships. And people are not going to respect who we are because they don't know what it is to respect us. We're not putting it out there. We could assume that people know, but it may not be the best assumption. Tasha says, I had that happen. I started laughing at... Y'all trying to set me up today. Okay, I don't even want to read more. Wow, I really appreciate that, Tasha. I really appreciate you communicating that. Thank you. Y'all making me laugh today, but I really appreciate it because I'm gonna tell you something. Earlier this week, I felt very low. I felt very depressed. Very depressed earlier this week. I know. I'm Elder Robin. I'm Counselor Robin. And we think that, sometimes depression exempts, but I felt very depressed the other day, and I needed to take some time away to really take care of myself. And so today, even the last, I know that you all are probably laughing with me, but I really, 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 really appreciate you all because it's real out here. I felt very low, and I want to let you know that I'm not exempt from the things that we talk about. Okay, we talk about these things every day. I want to be transparent and let you all know that. So definitely, I know y'all see me laughing, and I'm really, just very loose and just really enjoying myself. I'm really definitely, I am human. I am absolutely human. But I'm definitely engaged, and I really appreciate you all for talking about these things. So thank you, Tasha. Absolutely, Auntie. God does things decent and in order. Absolutely. Absolutely. Eve says, you teach people how to treat you. Years ago, I was the person who would hold it in until I couldn't handle it without saying something. Absolutely. When we hold it in, we say things in a mean way, and we don't become effective. I used to be the same way. I used to hold things in, and I would just get into a rage. Really get into a rage. So I definitely appreciate you for being that honest and transparent. It's so very impactful when we are able to communicate our boundaries in a very communicative way. Okay? So if there was somebody who said something very disrespectful, let's say somebody said something disrespectful in this video, then what I would say is, I'm sorry, but on this page, we don't tolerate that. So we're going to go ahead and block you off the page because you know what? This is not acceptable. That is a boundary communicating. Okay? And so it could come out so genuine, and it could come out nice when you're able to just put it out there. When you know who you are and what it is that you want from a person, you're able to communicate that in an effective way. Okay, so we're talking about that. I really appreciate this boundary conversation. Teresina says, it's okay, Robin. I understand your humor. And never could it be offensive. I believe that healing is even found through laughter. I've been told that it is the best medicine. I'm mature enough to handle it. But thank you for your feedback, and I do attend. Absolutely. Teresina, honestly, we talk I truly would not say anything or laugh at you all in an ill intent. I think that the situation in itself, all of you all who have shared the church situations, I can imagine it happening. Y'all, I've been in church for a very long time. So I've seen people, Tradina, you as well, your story, Tasha, your story. I've seen it happen. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, it's still happening. And so definitely, I appreciate your feedback. And no, most definitely, I would never laugh at you all. So I definitely appreciate the humor in just even the conversation, how you are like, girl, let me tell you, I had to hold back. That's a good thing. And so I appreciate that, okay? Eve, I can't do the centipeding down the aisle. I can't. Eve, I'm gonna just go ahead and move. I'm gonna just go ahead and move from your comment, okay? Y'all are funny today. I really appreciate this. I can't even read your comment, Eve. I can't. Y'all y'all are funny. Eve said Eve I can't. I'm moving forward. Oh boy, y'all are funny. Eve said that they should be selling they should sell popcorn. I can't. This was not supposed to be a comedy hour. Hour of Power is not comedy hour, okay? I just want to let all of y'all know that. And I know you're serious. Eve, I know you're serious. That's why it's really funny. That's why it's even more funny. So I definitely appreciate that. Whew. Okay, y'all. I love y'all so much. Okay. So back to the comments. Tradina says, Eve, LOL, true and so funny. Listen, we're going to change this subject because I can't. Y'all have me in tears. Okay, for real, y'all, for real. Okay, I'm together. Okay. Y'all are funny. Okay, so Tradina says, I love how my husband and I communicate our boundaries, especially him. He had to tell me the do's and don'ts of being a transgender man. If we didn't have the open communication more, I probably would have crossed so many boundaries. Absolutely. So I definitely appreciate y'all. Have me in tears, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. I couldn't even read y'all comments because it's too funny. Okay, but definitely, Tradina, that is very, very important. The fact that you're able to communicate your needs. That's the start of healthy friendships. And Auntie, if you're still on, this goes back to the first conversation when you talked about poor friendships. That is how we have healthy relationships and friendships, by communicating what it is that we need at the table. Just recently, I connected with someone who's that I'm deeming a really good friend, and we communicated very, very specific boundaries because we recognize that the call of God is great and it can easily go sideways. And so we recognize that having boundaries is so very important. And also, not just with having boundaries and communicating boundaries, but being mature. You cannot be a mature person having relationship or wanting to be friends with someone who's immature, because they're never going to understand your boundaries. They're never going to understand the standard that you set. Okay, so I definitely want to put that out there. Kay says, when it comes to my boundaries concerning intimacy, I have to say, I don't say it nicely with a bunch of cute smiles because I want that person to know I'm dead serious. Absolutely. So definitely making sure that we're communicating, not, hi, I really like when you do this, or I really don't like when you do this, and we're smiling and we're laughing. People are not going to take you seriously. So I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta have a cough drop. Y'all give me a second. Auntie, don't fuss at me. This cough drop number 5. All right. So definitely communicating it stern, but Kay, we still don't have to be nasty when we communicate healthy boundaries. I just want to make sure we know that we don't have to be nasty. Okay. So absolutely, Tradina, maturity is the key. Being mature and being able to set healthy boundaries will help you have healthy, positive friendships, because you will know people's intent, because and hopefully if you set healthy boundaries with healthy people, yes, it's red because I've been sucking on cough drops since earlier today. I'm sorry, y'all. But when you set healthy boundaries with mature people, they will be able to tell you whether or not they can meet that need or not. And that's okay. So want to definitely keep that out there. So we've talked today about, we started the conversation talking about the pastor that I posted on my page. If y'all haven't seen it, I did post that. He went off on a lot of people in the church, and the people just sat there in the church. It was just really a sad, angry scene for some folks or whatever. Too many cough drops. Y'all don't be judging me, okay? Don't be judging me. All right, I just wanted to get through this video. We also talked about poor relationships. We moved into talking about our temper, and we moved into talking about healthy communications and boundaries. So definitely appreciating this hour of power. You all are beautiful. Listen, before we go, I want to make this announcement. We have attempted to go live every day, okay? And what we want to make sure we're not doing is burning myself out. We want to make sure we're not burning you all out. So this week, we're going to go live. Okay, I will, Eve. This week, we're going to go live Tuesday and Thursday of this week, okay? This week we're going to live Tuesday. We're going to have a conversation and discussion and a live video Tuesday, and we're going to go live on Thursday. Now Friday I'm doing a very special karaoke, so I'll go live because I know you all like to hear me at karaoke, so I will go live from my own personal page on Friday. But this week we're going to go live Tuesday and Thursday. So please stay tuned. Stay connected. We love y'all. Listen, we're on YouTube now. Subscribe to our page. All of these videos will be uploaded to YouTube. And we're also in the middle of changing things around so that our podcast will be available to iPhone users and Android. So give us a little bit more time with that. But definitely, oh yes, we're still going to do Hour of Power on Sunday. That is never going to change. Hour of Power Sunday at 6 o'clock. We're going to go live Tuesday and Thursday this week at 9 p.m., okay? So stay tuned. I'm so excited that you all are connected. I know by Tuesday I'll be feeling much better. But you all stay beautiful. I love you all out there. I appreciate the laughs. I want to make sure every heart and mind is clear. So if folks are on, can we check out with the word? Like, make sure everybody is good. Is there any last minute things y'all want to discuss before we go? Listen, Eve, I'm not doing it today. Okay? Stop it. I'm not doing it with y'all today. Y'all not going to keep making me laugh and coughing and things. Okay? I'm talking about serious, the devil. But if there's any last minute comments, just want to make sure everybody's hearts and minds are clear. So definitely, how's everybody feeling right now? We're going to check out one word. How y'all feeling? Okay. Tradina says, thank you because the times on Tuesday and Thursday are hard for me to catch. I'm an early bird. Okay. Eve says, have a great week, everyone. Anybody else have any last minute thoughts? Tradina, you could always catch us the next day. Tradina says, I'm good. Had a healthy dinner. Esperanza says, I'm grateful. Looking forward to it. Absolutely. Tuesday and Thursday this week, we're going live. Tasha says, have a great night, everyone. I want to let you all know that you are beautiful, you are worthy, and you are enough. I hope that you all have a great week. A great week. And just know that if nobody else out there loves you, I do.